Hey everyone, thank you for joining our Sunday sessions. So today we are going to have a session on Padmasambhava. Um, so Padmasambhava is also known as the second Buddha. He took the Dharma to Tibet, and he's a very fascinating story. Uh, of course, he's supposed to have been in the 8th century, so a lot of myths and legends and magic stories behind him. But if you tune into his energy, you can feel the powerful presence whenever I tune into his energy, his chants. So somehow, and you feel guided by him once you kind of, it's like you're with him now. So I was introduced to him by my teacher Nitya, and yeah, I just wanted to share. He was active in my field recently, so I wanted to share about him, and I've been reading a little from his book, so from about his teachings. So I wanted to share that. So I think first let's talk about his story because I've that's been super. He's like it's like a superhero story in some sense. So he's one of my favorite superheroes. Um, so he's said to have been born, he's said to have appeared as an 8-year-old boy on a lotus in Lake Dhanagosha in what is now Pakistan. It's called Odiana and that region. And so the king of that time, King Indrabhuti, saw this child and he saw his radiance and he adopted him as his own son and brought him up as a prince. So he grew up in royalty, but he renounces all of that. He goes and travels through charnel grounds, practicing tantra and advanced yoga practices with the teachers of that time. And he was also known to be a scholar in the Nalanda University. And so he and the next two parts are my favorite. So when he's in Nalanda University, he has a vision of this princess. So this is Princess Mandarava, who was in the Zahor region, what was known as Zahor. It's around Bengal, Bihar, Himachal, I think somewhere there. Um, and she was a princess, but again, she was wanting to practice the dharma and learn about the teachings. So she takes a group of friends and she's trying to learn and practice against the wishes of her father, the king, of course, who wanted her to get married to another king or whatever, right? So Padmasambhava has a vision of her. He goes and he starts teaching this group, right? Like her and her friends. Her dad catches them and he sets Padmasambhava on fire. And it is said that he converted the fire into water and he was in a lake again, sitting on a lotus. So, so she is supposed to have been somebody who practiced deeply with him and also had great realization. And then the king of Tibet, Trisong Detsen, so he calls Padmasambhava to set up a monastery in Tibet and bring Buddhism there. And so he goes there, and at that time there was born religion in Tibet, and so he wins over the deities of that born religion and he integrates Buddhism with born religion and manages to establish this there. So it is said that he was a powerful, he could win over energies, right? Like he had a lot of like, he was said to have been the father of quantum physics in that sense. He, master of time, space, energy frequencies, all of that. There's a very wonderful documentary which I really love and I keep going back to on YouTube, which is available for free. I can share that after this, which talks about all of this. And yeah, so he goes there, he sets up that monastery, and and then he finds his beloved disciple again, who's also his consort, Yeshe Sogyal, again a princess, or a queen maybe. I think she was married to the king or something. I'm not sure, but she practices deeply with him, and she's known as the female Buddha. So together they practice and they achieve what is called full enlightenment or rainbow body. Um, so yeah, and then together they hide these teachings for future generations. So which is called the Terma, and it is said to appear or be made available to Tertons who are the disciples or in that lineage, and these are hidden in stone, in space, or in the mind streams of future generation of his disciples, so to say, right? And at the right time, it gets revealed, and many have been revealed already. And this is said to have been hidden in stone. People have seen it, like the stone melt, and they've taken out these statues or symbols and things like that. Very fascinating story, whether you believe it or it's just amazing to imagine some master who thought of so much. He realized there'll be decline in teachings and things like that, and so he said those who need it will be able to access it, and that's what he's. And these teachings become relevant because it's like a zipped file, right? Like these termas, like they reveal themselves in the mind stream of these disciples relevant to that time, right? It adapts to that. So yeah, very fascinating story of Padmasambhava. So this is his story briefly. And yeah, now we can maybe look at his teachings a little bit. So I've been reading from this book, Advice from the Lotus-Born. So he's said to be the Lotus-Born since he appeared as an 8-year-old boy on a lotus. So, what was Padmasambhava's teachings? So his teachings were about direct insight into the nature of mind, right? Um, so it was about transforming perception in that sense. So I'm going to read this. These are like I think these are translated teachings, so a little bit of this language may feel a little dense or different. But just, I would say, just take it in, and if I can, I will sort of summarize a little bit at the end. It is a bit of a deeper teaching, but let's see how it goes. It's okay if we don't understand it. We'll also chant his mantra afterwards, after we sort of go through these teachings. I feel like these work at a deeper level of our consciousness, and so when we are meant to understand something, it just comes to us. I've had this book for a while now. I've probably gone through these pages, but when I opened it this week, what came to me was very different from. I was like, I didn't know this was there, right? So it's very interesting how that works. So it's just about trusting the process and trusting that what you need to know, you will know, right? What you need to kind of become aware of, we will become aware of. And the mantras are beautiful like that because we're not trying to understand them. We're saying the same thing, right? Like I was playing the 7-line prayer earlier, which is supposed to be a very powerful chant again for Padmasambhava. And we just tune into their frequency, and what needs to happen with our frequency will happen. So that's the way I kind of understand it. Though I'm sure there's more to it if you can unpack it, right? And I'm sure that'll be revealed to us if we're meant to know it. But yeah, so let's go through this. So this is the advice from the Lotus-Born. This is advice to Trisang Detsen, the king, like I told you, the one who called him to Tibet, right? I'll skip there's this initial verse where the king praises Padmasambhava, and like in his name, he makes a lot of offerings and things like that. And I want to come to these questions. He asks a few questions to Padmasambhava, and Padmasambhava answers, right? So, and some of these words may feel unfamiliar, but I think I'm gonna summarize a little as we go on. So the master says, the pinnacle of all views. So the king asks, what is meant by possessing the view of realization, right? Um, Here, the view refers to what Padmasambhava taught is known as the Dzogchen teachings, or the great perfection. It's about, again, like I said, the insight into the nature of the mind, right? And so the view is realizing the nature of the mind, which is rigpa, which is empty, luminous, aware, right? So he's asking him what is meant by possessing the view of realization. So the master replied, the pinnacle of all views is the bodhicitta essence of awakened mind. All of the great billionfold universes, all the sugatas of the 10 directions, and all of the beings of the three realms are of one nature in that they are included within the bodhicitta essence of awakened mind. Mind here means the diversity that arises from the unmade. So what he's saying here is he's talking about the Buddha mind, which exists in all of us, right? If you may have heard of that, that everyone has the capacity for full awakening. And so, well, you may then ask, what is the difference between Buddhas and sentient beings? It is nothing other than realizing or not realizing mind. The substance of the awakened state of Buddha is present within you, but you don't recognize it. Not recognizing their minds, being stray into the six streams of existence. You may then ask, what is the way to realize mind? For that, it is taught you need the oral instructions of a master. In this regard, mind is that which thinks and cognizes. There is indeed something that experiences. Don't seek this mind outside, look within. Let mind search for itself. Reach certainty about how the nature of mind is. At first, from where does mind arise? Right now, where does it stay? At the end, look into where it goes. When your mind looks into itself, it finds no place from where it arises, remains, or goes to. There is no explanation of this is how it is. Mind is discovered to be without something outside or inside. It does not have someone that looks. It is not the act of looking. It is experienced as a great original wakefulness without center or edge, an immense all-pervasiveness that is primordially empty and free. This original wakefulness is intrinsic and self-existing. It is not made right now, but is present within yourself from the very beginning. Decide firmly that the view is to recognize just that. So what's the view is recognizing that the mind is empty, like he's saying. That if you kind of the mind when looking outward is sort of you have moving thoughts. If you look back within the mind itself, you realize it's empty. There's nothing there, right? There's no, like he's saying, there's no center or edge. It's just empty and free. So once you have full confidence in that, that's realizing the view, right? To possess confidence in this means to realize that, like space, mind is spontaneously present from the beginning. Like the sun, it is free from any basis for the darkness of ignorance. This is very beautiful, what he says about the mind. He says, like the sun, it is free from any basis for the darkness of ignorance. Like a lotus flower, it is untainted by faults. Like gold, it doesn't alter its own nature. Like the ocean, it is unmoving. Like a river, it is unceasing. Like Mount Sumeru, it is utterly unchanging. Once you realize that this is how it is and stabilize it, that is called possessing the view of realization. So, yeah, isn't that beautiful? Instead of sort of thinking it's a bad mind or whatever, right? Like, so he says the mind is inherently empty, aware, luminous. The true nature of mind is such, right? And it is untainted. There's not even a basis for the darkness of ignorance, he says. Your true nature is free from any of that. And so to stabilize and be confident in this is what is possessing the view of realization. The king asked, what is meant by possessing the experience of meditation? Now, this is very interesting what he talks about meditation. The master replied, listen here, your majesty. To possess the experience of meditation means to leave your mind uncontrived, uncorrupted, and fresh. Let your mind rest in its natural, unrestrained, and free state. By neither placing your mind on something outside nor concentrating inwardly, you remain free of focus. Within this great equal state of your innate nature, Let your mind stay unmoved, just like the flame of a butter lamp that is not moved by the wind. Within this state, experiences can occur. Your consciousness may become overflowing, bright, or stop altogether, blissful, radiant, or free of thoughts. It may feel murky, without reference point, and out of tune with the ways of this world. If these experiences occur, don't attach any special importance to them, as they are just temporary experiences. Don't cling or fixate on them at all. That is called possessing the experience of meditation. So it's beautiful because he's saying there's no meditator and there's no meditating object that you kind of need to focus on. He's saying defocus, right? He's saying know that, have confidence that your mind is inherently empty and the rigpa nature, right? Like it's sky-like. And know that everything occurring there within that is just movement, right? So he's saying just know that and don't cling to anything. That's what he's saying. So so don't fixate, right? That's what he's saying. Don't fixate or cling to anything. And then that's how you kind of possess the experience of meditation, right? So the king asked, what is meant by possessing the equal taste of conduct? The master replied, conduct here means to be uninterrupted in meditation, without being distracted, even though there is no thing being meditated upon. So what he's saying here is stabilizing of awareness, right? That your awareness is so strong that you're not going and clinging and fixating on anything. And that's where the meditation is uninterrupted in the sense. You're not meditating on anything, you're just free of focus constantly. So, like the ceaseless flow of a river, you remember throughout all situations, whether walking, moving about, lying down, or sitting. Equal taste means to embrace whatever you see or whichever of the five sense pleasures occur with the recognition of your inner nature, of your innate nature, free from attachment or clinging. You do not accept or reject anything at all, just like the analogy of arriving on an island of precious gold. This is called possessing the equal taste of conduct. Again, the king asked, this question is interesting and I think relevant for all of us. Again, the king asked, what makes one cross the dangerous defile of moving thoughts? The master answered, when conceptual thinking occurs while resting in meditation, whatever arises does so out of your own mind. Since mind does not consist of any concrete essence whatsoever, thinking is itself empty of any real entity. Like the analogy of a cloud that appears within space and vanishes again into space, thinking occurs within mind and dissolves again into mind. In nature, conceptual thinking is the innate dharmata. Crossing the dangerous defile means that when mind moves into a variety of thoughts, you should direct your attention into this mind itself. Like a thief entering an empty house, empty thoughts cannot in any way harm an empty mind. That is called having crossed the dangerous defile of moving thoughts. So, what he's saying is if you have full confidence that your mind is inherently empty and like sky like, right? And so, whatever moving thoughts come, they're just like clouds. And so, they're going to pass away immediately. In fact, the teaching says it's like drawing on water, right? Like it's self liberated even as it appears. Any thought that comes is self liberated. It's gone as it appears, it's gone, right? So recently Nitya was sharing in a session like what Padmasambhava said, like he said, the arising and passing is happening instantly, simultaneously, right? So it's like drawing on water. Imagine you draw on water, right? Like even as you're drawing, it's gone, right? So that's how your thinking is. That's how all of your thoughts are. And so crossing that is just about realizing that's how it is. And as you kind of have confidence in that, you'll never follow anything, right? So your house is empty, the thief cannot take anything. It's just about gaining confidence in that's how it is. That's the only thing that is. That's why they say it's the recognition. It's not about doing something or arriving something, arriving somewhere or attaining something. It's just about getting confidence in this, right? So the king asked the master, how does one gain the unchanging confidence of fruition? The master replied, listen to this, your majesty. The awakened mind of bodhicitta is not created through causes nor destroyed through circumstances. It is not made by ingenious Buddhas or nor manufactured by clever sentient beings. It is originally present in you as your natural possession. When you recognize it through your master's oral instructions, since mind is the forefather of the Buddhas, it is like the analogy of recognizing someone you already know. All the Buddhas of the three times awakened to enlightenment in the continuity of actualizing this after attaining stability, just like the analogy of a prince ascending to the throne. To awaken to what is spontaneously present from the beginning, free from fear and intimidation, is called possessing the confidence of fruition. So what is he saying is that what he's saying is that it's inevitable. It's your like it's your inheritance, right? Like the prince doesn't doubt whether he will ascend to the throne. So it is given, right? That's the confidence of the fruition, that it is given that you'll ascend the throne, right? So it is given that it'll happen. And so it's just about recognition, right? Since it's you already possess it. It's already yours. It's already your innate nature. It's just about the prince ascending to the throne. Like I found that very beautiful because it's like there's no doubt about it that whether it'll happen or, whether you can do it. There's no doing, firstly, right? There's no doing. It's just about seeing that this is how it is. And that'll happen because it's the prince ascending the throne. It's inevitable. It's your inheritance, right? Just and what is that? Continuity of actualizing this. Literally, that's all it is, and attaining stability. And the further you go on, the more stability you gain in this recognition, right? Um. All right, I think we stop there because that's a lot in itself. I think so. Maybe let's do a few minutes of chant and then I can open up for any discussion we want to have. Maybe let's do so we'll do the simple chant Om Ga Hong Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hong, right? That's the chant we'll be doing. And yeah, you can tune in if you don't want to chant along, you can just listen, tune in, and that's it. All right. Let's take a minute of silence first just to integrate whatever we've heard just now. And irrespective of if that made you feel calm or agitated or restless, it doesn't matter. Just be with your current feeling. And like Padmasambhava so beautifully said, have confidence that every feeling, every thought that occurs to you is like drawing on water. It is disappearing even as it appears. Nothing can touch your true nature. Your true nature is like the sun, right? There's no basis of darkness at all. Like the lotus, nothing can touch you, nothing can stay there. Om Gahom Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Hom. Om Gahom Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Hom. Om Gahom Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Hum. Om Ahom 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 Vajraguru Padma Siddhi Hum. Right. Thank you. Anything anyone wants to say or ask? Thank you. Would you like me to stop the recording again? If that's helpful, let me stop.